Hello and welcome to the Happiness Playbook. For those who don't know me, I am your personal play theory coach, Michael Anderson. For those who don't know play theory, it is a mindset consisting of 4 principles. Be present, let go and play, accept and build, and look outward. We also believe here that happiness is a skill, not a circumstance. And because happiness is a skill, skills take practice. If you'd like to learn more about this, we actually just launched practicehappiness.org. So you can go to practicehappiness.org, take a look there. I will link it in the description below, and that is going to tell us a little bit more about play theory. So go there, check it out, give me your thoughts, give me your feedback. Let me know what you think in the comments below about our new website. I would love to hear that. Today is going to function a little differently for a couple of reasons. One, you can see that I am in my room at home, and that's actually not on accident. That's not because of a mistake. That is because I have been sick. You might be able to hear a little bit on my voice, but I want to say first things first, for the sake of happiness, that even though I'm sick, I'm glad that my throat really isn't hurting that badly. It's feeling actually just fine. I kind of just got like aches and chills. It's allowed me to sit here in front of you today. And of course, I'm glad that it didn't happen last week or the week before. And the reason for that is because in the last couple of weeks, and this is why we haven't been posting the podcast, I direct plays. And so we had a play. It was The Melodies and Memories of Laura Ingalls Wilder. And that was in production. And we had Tech Week 2 weeks ago. I spent a lot of that time raising my voice and all that kind of stuff. And having a fever and chills would not have been great. So I'm really grateful to be sitting here today with a little bit of rest. And I think we can always be grateful, even in hard times, especially with the sickness going around. I know so many people who are sick right now, and you know what? It's going to be okay. We're actually going to be doing a reaction video, so this isn't going to be full podcast mode. This is actually going to be an exclusive for YouTube. I'm going to leave the podcasting like when I'm actually just talking, and maybe there's like some visuals. I'm going to put that on other platforms. But this might be something that I put out there a little bit more often with other videos. So let's take a look today. Before we get started, I did want to go through some comments because it's been a little bit since then. So let's take a look at that and let's see if my new buttons work. Oh, look at that. Isn't that so cool? Okay. Anyway, you guys have all seen this kind of stuff before, but I'm glad that I can put this, can I do my, this thing here. Let's take a look at our comments. A lot of these are like, awesome, nice. I love that stuff. That's very good. Aggressively drum rolls. Yes, very good. Okay, here's a good big one here. So Callie Simmons, C5U7G, says, the struggle is real with this topic. This is a message that can't be shared enough, especially this time of year when we gather more with friends and family. Thank you so much, Michael, for sharing this message and challenge. As a family, we're going to take on this challenge and do better. I love that. I love that. I tried the same thing too with my family. Not too hard with my phone, honestly, but I was actually really happy to see that most people were not on their phones at our Thanksgiving dinner, and usually that happens. So I think people want to be more connected. Okay, this is from Sleepy Mom 24. Monkey 101 is a little too relatable. Thanks so much for sharing this. I really try when I host classes or parties in my home to invite people to drop their phone at the door. Phones block connection with the people right in front of you. This is such an important message for all of us, isn't it? For everybody. I thought this comment was funny. Okay. Dislike this video because I'm in it. What in the world? That pie chart is a personal attack. So I'm not totally sure where she is, but the pie chart is a personal attack to all of us. Mackenzie, I'm sorry, I actually just put you in it again, so you're just gonna have to dislike this video as well. But thank you for not disliking. I can see no dislikes. No dislikes. Okay, very good, very good. Good job, Mackenzie, at not actually disliking. Okay, lots of good comments here. Let's read one more. Another banger of an episode. Since listening to the podcast, I've noticed so many moments where I was distracted by my phone, most times when I was around family and friends. Such an incredible reminder and in perfect timing for the holiday season. And it was such a joy to finally be able to watch this Monkey 101 video, a new favorite of mine. Thank you, Michael. I think I want to read one more. This was on the more recent one, which actually this one got like 500 views on it. Thanks everybody for watching. And here's one from Levi_S-violin. This was so cool to hear about college life and play theory. Nothing like seeing our awesome alumni from TNT. So that's our theater program. So what we had just done there. So some of the people I brought on the podcast, they were part of that theater program as well. So let's do some reaction time. Okay, so I have not watched this video yet.
I tested 12 psychology-backed happiness hacks that work in under 10 seconds. Just
10 seconds.
Instant resets for when your brain's spiraling and you need relief right now. If you want to start with just one, check out the 10th hack. First up, the body category. Your brain doesn't just tell your body how to feel. Your body tells your brain how to feel. These 4 hacks hijack that conversation. Hack 1, the physiological sigh.
So I'm just going to stop there for a second. So that's kind of interesting. That's kind of like an ultimatum, like your body tells your brain how to feel, and not vice versa. I think that there are some really good things to that. And at the very least, I think with what he's going for with this video, with like 10-second things, I think very much so physical changes can help in not letting you spiral. I think that's what the whole point of this is.
Ever been so stressed you forgot how to breathe properly? When you're anxious, your breathing gets shallow and the carbon dioxide builds up in your bloodstream. So your heart starts racing because it's trying to fix the problem. Here's the hack to fix this. Take 2 quick inhales through your nose, like you're trying to smell something twice, then do 1 long exhale through your mouth. That's it. It takes just 10 seconds.
Okay, I love that. So we've actually talked about that on the channel before. I don't know if that necessarily comes from Andrew Huberman. I know that he talks about it, but I think that there's a lot of science on all of that. So I love that. It's kind of like, I call it like the baby breathing, so you end up going like, because like babies kind of do that as they're calming down, right? So that can help you to remember that. And I think it is a good practice in 10 seconds.
So why does this work? Those 2 inhales pop open the air sacs in your lungs that collapsed from shallow breathing, and the long exhale dumps all that trapped carbon dioxide. So your heart immediately slows down, and your brain goes, oh, we're safe now. Stanford studied this sighing and found it to be the most effective way to calm your nervous system. So
okay, so that's really interesting. Andrew Huberman works at Stanford, so that would make sense that he's involved with that. But that's really interesting. I didn't know the stuff about carbon dioxide. I'd love to see more of the studies. I'm just taking it as it is from this video. That would make more sense. I feel like when you have good oxygen in your lungs, you feel pretty good because that's what your lungs need.
Next time you're spiraling, remember to do it just once. 2 quick inhales and then 1 exhale. Watch what happens. Hack 2, the power pose. Next one's going to make you feel ridiculous. Stand up and throw your arms up in a V shape like you just won something. Hold it for...
Okay, I love this. I absolutely love this so far. Okay, I teach this in theater all the time and actually try this out. In fact, maybe I can try to exemplify it a little bit, but we had I'll just do it from my chair here. But we'll do this thing. Here, I'll just make it a little bit easier. So we do this thing where, you can hold your arms like out, and you take kind of a wide stance, and then you walk about the room. And then we have like half of the group who will like turn their knees in, turn their feet in slightly, like their toes in and their heels kind of out. And then do this. So like making, having it so that they kind of go like this. And there's just a difference. There's a difference. And we'll go through this exercise and we'll talk about like, hey, imagine that it's sunny outside. And the people who stand like this, they take it at almost like, oh, the sun is really harsh. And those who have their arms open, they accept the sunshine, right? And same thing with rain. We do the same thing with rain and we say, hey, imagine now that it's raining. And so the people who are like this, it's harsh. People who are like this, love and accept the rain. This works. I've put it in practice before.
Throw your arms up in a V shape like you just won something. Hold it for 10 seconds. That's the hack. Here's what's happening in your brain. There's this thing called proprioception. Your brain constantly monitors your body's position in space, and it uses that information to decide how you should feel. When you make yourself small, hunched over, arms crossed, your brain reads that as danger. But when you take up space, arms wide, chest open, your brain reads that as safety.
So this is really interesting, especially that he's talking about safety, because if you kind of look at it in the tribal sense, now some of these words I have no idea what he's talking about. They're just scientific terms, but I'm just coming from a real practice perspective on this. If you think of this from like a tribal perspective or from a survival perspective, actually opening up your arms is more dangerous, right? Than being closed off, because these are all your vital organs. So, instead of this being a non-safe thing, it actually, so he's correct, it is a safety thing, but it's because you are choosing a physical stance that says, I do not fear you, right? I do not fear what is in front of me in the world. And then when you're crossed like this, you're saying like, I got to protect my organs, right? I got to protect my heart. So that's very interesting. It's a weird thing, but he's talking about it in terms of safety. So that's why I wanted to bring that up.
Confidence rises, not because you're winning anything, but just because you changed your shape. Harvard researchers found that just 10 seconds of standing, like Superman before a stressful moment, measurably changes how powerful you feel. You're probably thinking, no way I'm doing that. Sure, it looks weird, but it works. Do it in the bathroom if you're self-conscious. Hack 3.
So that's let go and play right there. It looks weird, but it works.
Pencil smile. This one's my favorite because it's so stupid and so effective. Grab a pencil, put it horizontally between your teeth, not touching your lips, just your teeth. Hold it there for 10 seconds. You're now technically smiling, and your brain has no idea you're faking it. Here's the science behind it. There's this thing called facial feedback hypothesis. Your brain monitors your facial muscles to figure out what emotion you're having. When the muscles for a genuine smile activate, your brain assumes you must be happy. It releases serotonin, even though you're just holding a pencil, even though nothing good happened. The
graphics on this are so funny. True. Another thing, sometimes I even just look in the mirror and smile. I think it's good to intentionally smile. But this is one of those things. It's like a crutch. It helps you along the way. But I think probably like making a habit of looking at yourself in the mirror and smiling is probably better. Because there's also the sight response that you get from it. But I love that so much. It's like, technically you're smiling. It's like, go like this. So actually, I want to try this right now. Let's see. Yeah, I feel happier. If you have liked what you have seen so far, then please consider subscribing. That would be so helpful. We've grown a lot recently, but we have more to grow so we can serve more people. So please consider subscribing. With that, let's get back into the video.
Emotional center of your brain literally cannot tell the difference. So it gives you the good chemicals anyway. You're sitting there with a pencil in your mouth thinking, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done. And then suddenly you feel lighter. Try it next time you're stuck in a bad mood for no reason. 10 seconds with a pencil. Hack 4. The neuroshake. Last one in the body category. This one's going to make you look even weirder. Shake your entire body for 10 seconds. Arms, legs, shoulders, everything. Just violently shake it out. Sounds insane, right? But here's what's actually happening. When animals experience stress, they physically shake it off after the threat passes. We don't do that. We just hold on.
I don't know if a wet dog experiences stress, but I'm sure the dog is happy, but yeah.
Onto it. Carry it around all day. Then wonder why we feel anxious for no reason. Shaking manually completes that stress cycle your body's trying to finish. You're literally shaking off the nervous system activation that's stuck. 10 seconds of looking ridiculous beats hours of carrying unprocessed stress. Next time you feel wound up for no clear reason, find a private space. Shake it out. Your nervous system will thank you. Now,
okay, so there's actually good stuff to this too. And we also in the theater, we do an exercise called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we just shake all our limbs. Then we shake our body at the end. And it really does help with managing stress. I'm a fan of channeling nervous energy for, your benefit as well. But if you're spiraling out of control with, I need to do this right here. If you're spiraling out of control with stress, then you probably want to do this.
Your body's only one input channel. Let's talk about what you're feeding your senses. Category 2, the sensory. Your brain's not reacting to reality, it's reacting to the data it's receiving. These 4 hacks change the input so your nervous system can calm down. Hack 5, the cold splash. This one's brutal, but it works immediately. Go to your sink, turn the water to the coldest
What is going on here? Oh, this is like fog. It just looked like the water was spilling out. I see what he's doing.
setting. Cup your hands, splash that freezing water directly on your face, specifically around your nose and eyes. Hold it there for a
Make sure you do this in the Antarctic as well. Really good results from that.
few seconds if you can. Why does this work when nothing else does? Because you just activated something called the mammalian dive reflex. It's this ancient evolutionary mechanism that kicks in when your face hits cold water. Your body thinks you're diving underwater, so your heart rate instantly drops to conserve oxygen. Blood vessels constrict, metabolism slows, all within seconds. This reflex is so powerful, it overrides pretty much everything else your nervous system's doing. Panic attack, cold water resets it. Can't calm down? Cold water forces it. It's a biological hard reset button. And unlike breathing exercises, you don't need to be calm to do it. You just need cold water and 10 seconds of discomfort. Keep this.
Okay, so I'm a fan of this also. I will say I wonder like what the science will look like in the near future because like well for one thing there is obviously a reaction that you have right when you go through this process. I mean, I'm usually at the end of my shower, I'll try to have it be a cold shower at the very end, and it just feels like there's like a little bit of like adrenaline going through my veins. But I wonder what how the science will actually end up being on it. Either way, I think that if you're, like if you're thinking of like, hey, you're opening up your body and doing the pencil thing, if those work, then there's a good chance that this works as well.
One for emergencies. Hack 6, the sun gaze. This one's stupidly simple.
Stare at the sun. How many times have we heard not to do that?
Step outside or go to a window, look toward the sun, not directly at it, obviously, just in its general direction. Let bright light hit your eyes for 10 seconds. That's it. You just hacked your circadian rhythm. Here's what's happening. You've got these special cells in your retina called melanopsin cells. They're for timekeeping. When bright light hits them, they send a signal to your brain that says, it's daytime, time to be awake. That signal triggers a cascade of mood-regulating neurotransmitters. Serotonin goes up. Melatonin gets suppressed until later. Your brain recalibrates. This is why you feel better after going outside. Because you get.
So there's a couple of things here, and I've actually looked into this a lot as well. I'm not a professional on it, but for one, I like how he says look towards the sun, not at the sun. So don't look at the sun. Also, from what I've heard, there's benefits from doing it earlier in the morning than doing it later in the day. So but I think any sun exposure, like if you've been inside all day, then any sun exposure is probably going to be good for you. And then I'm not sure about serotonin raising and the melatonin decreasing, but once again, not a scientist on this. Yeah, I think that in the morning, it really can help with your resetting your circadian rhythm because a lot of times inside, like we have our blackout curtains, and which is great, like to sleep. But then when it's morning, you kind of want to get exposed to light pretty quickly, and that'll wake you up. So I'm not sure, like, I think the direct thing with happiness is like your general happiness throughout the day and maybe not in the moment, but in the moment, kind of like you're standing like this guy, that's probably a good thing.
Gave your brain the light data it's been missing. Most of us spend entire days under artificial light that's nowhere near bright enough. So our brain never fully wakes up. We're stuck in this weird half-asleep state all day. 10 seconds of real light fixes that. Morning's ideal, but honestly, any time works. Just get actual daylight in your eyes. Hack 7, the fractal glance. This one's more subtle but perfect for daily use. Look away from your screen. Find something natural with a pattern, like clouds or tree branches. Just let your eyes wander over it for 10 seconds. No focusing, no analyzing, just scanning. Here's what you just did. Screens force something called focal vision. Your eyes lock onto a fixed point at a fixed distance. That activates your sympathetic nervous system, the stress response. But when you look at natural patterns, fractals specifically, Your vision shifts to panoramic mode. Your eyes relax. They scan instead of fixate. And that mechanically activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the calm down system. The way your eyes move changes your nervous system state. Next time you've been staring at a screen too long and feel that weird tension building, look at something natural for 10 seconds. Your nervous system will shift gears automatically.
Okay, so I don't know about this. We're on to the next thing, but I know it's interesting that he called it the fractal glance because fractals are really tiny, if I'm not mistaken. But I do like the idea of doing these things, getting outside, doing this kind of a thing. But I'm not sure about the claims necessarily. But I think once again, I think the idea of being on like focused vision versus being kind of like having peripheral vision and having a soft gaze. Like soft gaze, I think is a really powerful thing because it kind of helps you to like be in the moment and just focus on the senses. And usually it has to be intentional.
8. Micro declutter. This is the last one in sensory category. Look around right now. Find one tiny thing that's out of place. Maybe it's a wrapper or a crooked picture frame. Then fix it right now, within 10 seconds. Why does this work? Because clutter is a constant low-level signal to your brain that things are out of control. Every misplaced object is a tiny unfinished task your brain is tracking, and it adds up. But when you fix just one thing, you give your brain a micro win, a tiny hit of dopamine from completing something, and more importantly, proof that you have agency, that you can control your environment. Most people wait until clutter becomes overwhelming before they deal with it. But one item, that's so small your resistance brain doesn't even activate. You just do it, and suddenly the space feels slightly more manageable.
See, what I would add to this is enjoy the process as well. Like find joy in doing the little things. And it's okay. Like sometimes we think to ourselves, I have to get all of these things done in my day. And if I don't, then I'm like not as effective as someone else I see online. And comparison is, of course, the thief of joy. And that's what we're about here is happiness. So I think doing that is really great. And it's also kind of the idea of like, you know, if you're paying off debt, like paying off the small ones first. There's a lot of different methods to paying off debt, but I know that method has been particularly helpful when it comes to my finances, if I look at it that way. So, you know, because it's little wins along the way. And I think that is very, very helpful. Instead of just like, I've just got this massive project and then all these other things, these little things are chaining me down. So just get rid of them.
Do this once a day and your environment stops being a source of stress. But there's a third category that's causing most of your suffering, your mind. Category 3, the mind.
Your brain. I mean, most of your suffering is coming from your brain. There's physical pain, but yeah, most of it I think is coming from your brain.
Throughout our evolution, our brain's primary design was to keep us alive, not keep us happy. These 4 hacks interrupt the survival loops and force your brain into the present moment. Hack 9, the thank you text. Pull out your phone right now, pick someone from your contacts, and send them this one text. Hey, just thinking of you. Thanks for being awesome. That's it. You don't need to wait for a reply. You don't even need to...
I love this. Oops, I don't know what I was doing there. This is amazing. I can't stress enough how important gratitude is. I mean, we just did some of that today. And if you're in a hard space, sometimes it's better to look outward, right? It's actually better to look out for somebody else. There's just something that is kind of becomes alive in you when you do that, and you can become a very powerful person in society, but also and especially you can become a powerful person in somebody else's life. So I think that's really awesome. I mean, there's only positive that can come from that, but you'd be surprised how powerful this is. I try to do this as much as I can and help people know that I appreciate them. And that helps me to feel that boosts my self-confidence a lot when I know that I'm the kind of person who can help boost someone else's confidence.
Have a conversation. The hack happened the moment you sent it. Here's why this works. When you're stuck in your own head, your brain's in self-focused mode. Every thought loops back to your problems, leading to stress and anxiety. But the moment you reach out to someone else, your brain shifts to pro-social mode. It releases oxytocin. And
I love that. Pro-social, oxytocin, we've talked about that here.
Suddenly, you're not trapped inside your own skull anymore. You're connected to another human. Even if they haven't responded yet, the act of sending it shifts your focus from self-problem to other connection. And that shift is immediate. This is why helping someone else when you're sad makes you feel better. not because you're avoiding your problems, but because connection is the antidote to isolation. And isolation is where suffering multiplies. So,
I will say, I think that he's not really talking about this, but this is also a key in addiction recovery, I believe, is connection. Oftentimes what happens with addictions is they actually cause people to disconnect because of the issue, right? Because people are affected by it. And so if you want to get through an addiction, then honestly, it's really good to try and connect with others as much as you can. And the more that you connect, and you're going to think terrible things about yourself, but over time, the addiction will soften up and it'll be a lot easier for you to overcome it. Getting through addiction alone is, to me, it's near impossible. And it's not just about support groups. I think it's actually about real connection. Support groups are great, but I think it's about real connection in your community with those who you're going to live with and around for the rest of your life.
text, and you get an instant shift in perspective. Hack 10. Label the emotion. This one sounds too simple to work, but it's one of the most researched interventions in neuroscience. When you're feeling something intense, just say it out loud, like, I'm feeling anxious right now. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling overwhelmed. That's the entire hack.
Okay, so actually, this is getting into storytelling. I have a book called The Happiness Trap somewhere around here, but the book goes over this, and I'm also very close with the idea of storytelling being in the theater business. But yeah, this is basically saying, like, your brain is telling you stories. So when you're really anxious, usually there's some kind of story associated with it. And so when you name it, you start becoming in control of the story. You could even go as far as to objectify the emotion a little bit more. I think you could say like that was emotion, that was anger, that was feeling.
Name what you're feeling. Here's what happens in your brain when you do this. There's this process called affect labeling. When you name an emotion, brain activity shifts from your amygdala to your prefrontal cortex.
So I don't know what the amygdala is and the prefrontal cortex. I just know they're in your brain. And I think the prefrontal cortex is near the front of your brain.
That is the shift from your emotional center to the logical center. And here's the key part. You cannot be inside an emotion and be observing it at the same time. The moment you label your emotions, you create a distance from them. You're no longer drowning in anxiety. You're the person noticing that you feel anxious. That shift is critical because now you have perspective. Now you can work with it instead of being controlled by it. This works even better if you say it out loud.
This is the objectifying of it that I think is really helpful. So he's kind of getting into that now.
So next time you're spiraling, just pause, say what you're feeling, and watch how fast it loses power. Hack 11, the novelty seek. This one's weird, but it works. Look around the room you're in. Find one thing you've never noticed before. It could be a scratch on the wall or the exact shade of your curtains. Anything you've genuinely never paid attention to. Just notice it for 10 seconds. That's the hack. Your anxiety lives in the past or the future. It oscillates between replaying what went wrong and predicting what could go wrong. But your brain can't do both at once. It can't scan for novelty and run anxiety loops simultaneously. So, when you force it to search for something new, you yank it into the absolute present moment. This is called the orienting reflex. Your brain has to
Interesting. I've never heard that term before, the orienting reflex. But I have noticed that practice work well, especially with the people that I teach. I think that just being in the moment, just noticing things. Like there's a game that we play where we run around the room and we just notice things. We call it UCIC, and we just walk around, notice something, and see if anyone else has ever noticed that thing. And usually it's a really fun game, especially in a new space.
Process new data, and that interrupts whatever loop it was stuck in. The key is that it has to be something you've never noticed before. If you just look at your phone, that's not novel. Your brain's seen that a million times. But that tiny crack in the ceiling you never noticed, that's new data. And
I love that he mentions the phone. It's not novel. And it feels novel every single time we open it up. We think that there's a certain level of novelty to it, but it's because there's new information. But the phone itself is not a novel thing. And usually we're chasing after something. It's almost like an addiction, but we're chasing after something that we can't really get.
Data demands present moment processing. Do this whenever you catch yourself spiraling about something that hasn't happened yet. Hack 12, future forecasting. This one's perfect for when you're avoiding something. Close your eyes. Now, picture yourself finishing whatever you're dreading. The keyword is finishing and not doing. Try to see yourself on the other side of that work. Feel the relief flooding in, the weight lifting. Now hold that image for 10 seconds. Then open your eyes. Now go do the thing. Here's why this...
Now open your... Oh, I didn't need to go back to that little... Then open your eyes and everything is still horrible right in front of you. I like what he's saying. I like what he's saying.
Do the thing. Here's why this works. Your brain runs on prediction. When you're avoiding something, your brain starts predicting a bad outcome. That's why you feel resistance. But when you visualize the relief of finishing, you create a competing prediction, a positive one. This creates what's called a prediction error in your brain. It has two possible futures now, and suddenly the task doesn't feel as threatening because it now...
I love this. I love this. You should do this in your finance. You should do that in your life goals. You should do it everywhere. And something that you really know you're going to achieve. I know there's all the certain things about SMART goals, and there's a lot of different places for SMART goals. But honestly, what has served me the most is just knowing that my goal is achievable. So if I have a really big goal, I'll usually set some smaller achievable goals on the way. But I try not to micromanage the goals. I think that's kind of key. You want to make sure that when you're going into this, that you are just imagining something that is accomplishable, and then it puts the other like thing that is like not possible like off to the side.
Now has proof that there's a good outcome on the other side. This isn't manifestation. It's just giving your brain a different story about what happens next. So it stops blocking you with anxiety. Try this before any task you're avoiding. Don't visualize doing it. Visualize finishing it. Feel the relief, and watch how much easier it is to start. There you have it. 12 psychology-backed happiness hacks that work in under 10 seconds.
There we have it, folks. That is 12 instant hacks for anxious people. From ideas to thrive. Great video. I think all these things would be really helpful. Of course, look up your own research, get primary sources as much as you can, and try them out. I think there's no harm in trying any of these things out. That is from Ideas to Thrive. So go subscribe to Ideas to Thrive over there and thank them for allowing us to do this React video. Hope you have a wonderful week. And remember that happiness is a skill, and skills take practice.